AITA for not catering to dietary restrictions? I, 36F, hosted a small gathering yesterday for the families on our street. I love baking and I've been trying to perfect baklava as of late, so I whipped some up for the party to gather feedback. Lots of these families have kids as well, so I made some homemade chocolate chip cookies too, since I know how picky kids can be. My 4-year-old son's a bit of a nightmare, haha, and thought that it would probably be a safer and more familiar option for them. One neighbor called me the night before to inform me that his wife has a nut allergy. I told him that was no problem, I'd be making chocolate chip cookies too and she was welcome to eat those instead. He went on about how much his wife really wanted to try the baklava, and asked if I could prepare some kind of nut-free variation for her. I explained to him that the nuts are a pretty important component of the dessert and making it without them would just be like eating dough.
I also explained to him that baklava is very time and labor consuming to make, and I don't think that there would be enough people to justify making an entire separate batch. I reminded him again that I would be making chocolate chip cookies, completely nut-free, and that those took a lot less time to make, so I could easily make multiple batches throughout the gathering if I needed to. He and wife show up to the party, and when I bring out the baklava tray, he eyes me before pulling me aside to ask why I hadn't made nut-free baklava for his wife. I reminded him that I never said I was going to do that, but she was welcome to help herself to the cookies. He then accused me of not caring about his wife's dietary restrictions, or not caring if she dies. I told him that I did care, and that was why I was willing to let her have some cookies, even though I had mostly made them for the kids. He went on about, well, she doesn't want cookies, she was looking forward to the baklava.
Yeah, turns out he told her that I'd be making a separate nut-free batch. I pulled the wife aside and explained to her that I never said I'd be doing that, her husband made that up. She helped herself to a cookie but seemed a bit disappointed. Should I have just sucked it up and made a nut-free one?
And now I have to look up but nut-free baklava because I can't wrap my mind around how that is even possible.
I don't know how to make baklava. I just know that the inside of it is like 99% nuts. Like your neighbors. NTA.
Of course you're NTA. This is daft. Baklava is made with nuts and it's quite hard work. I can't fathom what the nut-free alternative would be, and it's worth noting that the neighbor had no suggestions. Just expected you to sort it out. The neighbor is an ass and just went looking for a problem. It's not as though there were no options for his wife. She never actually asked you herself either. And had little to say about it when the mythical nut-free baklava didn't materialize. That suggests that he made a fuss and embarrassed her. And she's probably used to it. Edit. Seeds and fruits can go in it. Apparently. The more you know. Still NTA.
NTA 1, the husband lied to his wife. So he got her hopes up. Not you. 2, you are not entitled to cater to others. NTA. Nut-free. Baklava? Really? Also, what a low thing for him to have done, to have lied to her. People who can't comprehend the word no bother me.
NTA. Nuts are a key component of baklava. If it was her birthday and she specifically asked you to do this as a birthday gift, that would be one thing. The husband here was an enormous ass for expecting you to do this. And telling his wife you were going to when you specifically said you weren't. I have a nut allergy. I've always been curious what baklava. But I'm allergic to nuts, so I don't eat it, and I know baklava without nuts is just flaky pastry. Dough. I would just have a chocolate chip cookie and say thank you. NTA.
Nope, you handled it perfectly. He is the
NTA. I have food allergies and am vegan and would never ask a friend, neighbor or coworker to make a special dish for me for a social gathering or event. I work in an industry where the companies that employ me often provide meals for employees. And I get a bit annoyed when there are no options I can eat at those meals. Lol. But at a social event? Never. Plus you were very clear on what food would be available.
NTA, I'm surprised she can even be married to him with her allergy cause he's clearly a nut.
NTA, I'm gluten-free and I'd be happy with anything I'd be able to eat. I wouldn't demand someone make a labor-heavy dish just for me gluten-free. I'd feel way too guilty. NTA, your neighbor asks you to invent a recipe. Accused you of not caring whether or not his wife died. And lied to his wife. How on earth could you possibly be the here? I don't get why he told his wife you would after you very clearly said you wouldn't. Like what? You'd change your mind? NTA, this is some choosy beggar bullshit. Except not his wife. NTA. He can make it himself if he's going to be such a beggar. Seriously. Allergies mean you can't eat everything. Oh well. Suck it up. I would have just thrown a tiny piece of dough in the oven. And then handed it to him going, "Here's your nut-free baklava," with a smirk. NTA. You can't expect somebody to make something like that last minute like that. You had nut-free alternatives available. If they really wanted a nut-free baklava, they could try to make their own. NTA. What sticks to me is that he called you the night before. Like, dude? Even if you would make nut-free baklava as they asked, you shouldn't have to be informed at the last possible moment. NTA. These people are crazy to even think baklava could be done without nuts? And also thinking they can ask you whatever they want. You're not their personal chef.
NTA, but the husband was a huge by distorting your conversation.
NTA. Baklava is, like, 50% nuts. And you provided a nut-free alternative. NTA. I've always wanted to make baklava, but it's so time-intensive that I have never attempted it. Shame on him for asking you to make a separate batch. Shame on him again for telling his wife you were going to make another batch. This man is ridiculous. Perhaps she is as ridiculous as he is, but good grief. You graciously hosted an event and provided 2 dessert options. You went above and beyond what you needed to do. I am embarrassed for their lack of manners.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic AITA-Cast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.